This is the bounce back.
So good! That'll work.
You may refer to it as the shot that has been making the rounds online. This time, though, it wasn't a one-shot deal. YouTube was set on fire by a full arsenal of impossible buckets, backflips, blindfolds, and long-range switches. Caitlin Clark simply did something that no one had anticipated. Not only perfectly matching the YouTube trickshot masters, but also taking the stage in their own field. She owned the video, not merely appeared in it. Additionally, the timing is terrible for her detractors because, as the WNBA falters without her ratings plummeting and ticket prices plummeting, Clark is out there performing viral magic without ever setting foot on a league court. Caitlin didn't go into rehab and remain silent while she was out due to a quad issue. She unleashed a media monster and content bomb that was intended to accomplish what the WNBA was unable to: attract a large audience, thrill families, and amass tens of millions of views in a matter of days. And that's precisely what took place. Fans went crazy as soon as the whole video was released. Videos of her taking sinking shots from unfeasible angles were all over social media. Because Caitlin Clark was doing more than just trick shots, people who had never watched a women's basketball game instantly recognized her name.
You have this girl that comes along from college and is an instant change. She's handed pretty much being the face of the league.
Double C 100 if you truly love Caitlin Clark. In the meantime, the WNBA was losing money. The statistics, with Clark on the bench, revealed a heartbreaking reality. Without her, the games would be essentially ghost towns.
The reason the Indiana Fever is losing is because Caitlin Clark is out.
Fever ticket prices plummeted from triple digits to snack money levels. And that's why her skeptics find this collaboration so painful. It demonstrates that although Caitlin Clark does not require the league, it badly does. Caitlin Clark, this video is a warning shot, a statement, and a cultural revolution in addition to being entertaining. One that declares unequivocally that Caitlin Clark isn't just the future of women's basketball, she's the moment. She simply entered the largest sports stage on YouTube and destroyed it. Domination was the goal of Dude Perfect's trickshot universe from the minute Caitlin Clark entered. It wasn't just about showy moves or lighthearted competition. The same player who is famous for destroying logo threes in real games appeared on a YouTube court and began shooting like she was born there. She wasn't the only person in the video. It was all about her. From absurd long-rangers wearing blindfolds to back-of-the-back buckets, the internet exploded, and Caitlin appeared to have run trickshot clinics her entire life. The comment sections were inundated with trending hashtags within minutes of the release, and it became evident that Caitlin Clark had just broken into the Dude Perfect machine. And that's no minor accomplishment. Dude Perfect is the royalty of YouTube sports. We're talking about 18 billion lifetime views and more than 60 million members. Their channel has had Curry, Steph, even NFL legends Luka Doncic. However, Caitlin contributed something unique. Just the Hinkle Heave trailer, which showed Caitlin watching Tyler drop a long bomb, received 13 million views in a matter of days. Fans couldn't wait for the complete drop, and when it finally arrived, Caitlin delivered trick after trick, keeping up beat for beat and shot for shot. The problem is, though, that she wasn't just keeping up, she was stealing the show. This was about presence, intensity, and personality, not just who made the most shots. Caitlin's manner of laughing with. She felt as though she had been a part of Dude Perfect for years because the crew embraced the craziness and made every setup into a highlight. And even though the guys displayed their typical theatrics, it was obvious that people were looking for her. The figures support it. Teaser clips starring Clark were exceeding previous videos even before the full release.
Hinkle heave.
The Hinkle Heave. Here we go.
There was no crossing here. A takeover occurred. And this collaboration's genius lies in who it targets.
Man.
Perfect has a huge following, particularly among younger families who enjoy sports. The WNBA has had difficulty reaching that particular demographic, but Clark already attracts them.
The WNBA tried to capitalize on her popularity and crammed a lot of games in
over a short amount of time playing against the best teams in the WNBA.
Parents and children have crowded the Fever games, donning her jersey. Working with the most family-friendly YouTube sports creators, Caitlyn has just opened to a new fan base. Despite not knowing the names of any WNBA teams, millions of people are now familiar with Caitlyn Clark and are addicted to watching her half-court shots.
Caitlyn Clark is the driving force behind the interest in the Fever and the interest in the WNBA.
More significantly, it's the kind of information that sticks, not a forced promotional spot or a 30-second Nike ad. This was a genuine long-form viral video, the type that causes children to exclaim, "Did you see that shot?"
I'm
so happy, I'm crying, I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
And proceed to test it out in their driveway. She impressed more than just sports fans. The twist that should frighten the WNBA's establishment is that she became an internet icon overnight. Caitlyn Clark was out there going global on a platform they couldn't control while they were busy gatekeeping and ignoring her fans. With this video, she didn't just overshadow Dude Perfect. In the viral era, she revolutionized what it meant to be a female sports star. At the same time that Caitlyn Clark was making impressive YouTube videos like Candy, the WNBA was juggling something much less spectacular: a complete loss of momentum.
Is more famous than all of this generation's NBA stars.
The numbers didn't just decline once she was declared out due to a quad injury. They fell precipitously. Within 48 hours, ticket prices were lowered by almost 300%, and the same seats that were selling for around $100 abruptly dropped to $25.
But the Indiana Fever ticket prices to games over the next 2 weeks have dropped 42% since Caitlyn Clark's injury announcement. Now it says the get-in price for the Sky vs. Fever game on June 7th was $86 just 48 hours ago. Now it's down to $25 after Caitlyn Clark's injury announcement.
And that amounted to generosity. Fans were there for her, not the teams, logos, or even the rivalries, and they stayed at home when she wasn't in the building. Let that sink in.
We have seen all over social media fans saying that they didn't want to watch the games if she wasn't going to be there. They weren't going to watch on television. They weren't going to show up at the arena.
Arena due to a player that was injured briefly rather than retiring. The ticket demand for an entire league that has existed for almost 30 years plummeted, was also more than one game. One of the season's most anticipated events, the Sky vs. Fever rematch, saw a dramatic drop in interest. The game that had been rescheduled to a bigger NBA arena due to Caitlyn's attraction might as well have been rescheduled because her fans didn't care without her. That's the kind of star power we're dealing with.
There is a lot of appropriate attention on Caitlyn Clark and the Indiana Fever, and we found out that the Fever Storm game from over the weekend drew 2.2 million viewers, which is massive. So you cannot deny the connectivity of Caitlyn Clark playing basketball and people wanting to watch. If she's playing, they will come, they will watch the game.
However, it was more than just ticket sales. The pattern of viewership was the same. Millions of people were watching Caitlyn Clark's games. The average number of viewers for the Fever's season opener against the Sky was 2.7 million. The WNBA regular season match with the highest viewership in 25 years. On CBS, their matchup with the Liberty had a peak audience of 3.3 million. And it wasn't a coincidence. Her presence produced a wealth of broadcast content. That gold mine dried up as soon as she left.
Fever and the Liberty, peaking at 3.2 million viewers. And again, second most viewed game on CBS ever.
It's a privilege to be here in Iowa. 339,000 people watched the Storm versus Wings non-Clark game. A reminder that the other players in the league just cannot attract attention the way she can.
A day before, the Storm vs. Wings gave you 339,000. The most watched WNBA game on NBA TV that did not involve Clark or the Indiana Fever. WNBA hasn't seen any growth when it comes to the non-Caitlyn Clark games.
The contrast becomes uncomfortable at this point. From the sidelines, Caitlyn is dictating the cultural discourse while the WNBA struggles through this Clarkless period with underwhelming numbers and waning interest. With millions of views from both ardent admirers and inquisitive newcomers, her Dude Perfect video is rapidly becoming viral. Her sync shots in jeans and sneakers have people who have never witnessed a WNBA quarter riveted to their phones. It's gravitational pull, not just popularity. As soon as word leaked out about her injuries, even more incriminating reports began to circulate about fans postponing their vacations to Indianapolis.
Ticket prices have fallen more than 300% in less than 2 days.
Chicago Sky, Indiana Fever, from $86 48 hours ago to $25.
A family stated, "Once I found out Caitlyn wasn't playing, it didn't make sense for us to fly to Indy." Furthermore, that wasn't a single quote. The message was repeatedly made plain. People are Caitlyn Clark fans first, Fever supporters second, and frequently not WNBA fans at all. While this may seem like an issue, it's actually how leagues develop.
Success of the WNBA rides on the success of the Indiana Fever and specifically Caitlyn Clark. We saw the Caitlyn Clark effect last season. We saw the influx of millions of new fans, billions of dollars in revenue that came to the WNBA and that was supposed to come to the WNBA this season.
It's how individual talents helped the NBA grow into a dominant force in the 1980s and 1990s. However, some in the league have viewed the star who is making waves as a danger rather than welcoming her. Additionally, they are observing the repercussions as they happen. After riding the Caitlyn Clark wave, the league is now having trouble surviving without her, and the stadiums are quieter, and the headlines are colder. Caitlyn Clark has evolved beyond her basketball career. One sports economist claims that she is a brand, a company, and a potential billion-dollar empire.
If I was the WNBA, I would have considered a separate television package to a network on just Caitlyn Clark games. I would have had two packages, the WNBA package, and then a separate, let's say, 15 to 18 game Caitlyn Clark package.
According to reputable sports valuation expert Dr. Ryan Brewer, Caitlyn might bring in more than $1 billion for the WNBA in a single season. That isn't a possibility. That is the influence of the present. $1 billion for one player, one season. And the league must now deal with that reality.
Impact on the WNBA's economy could reach $875 million with modest growth and continued fan interest. Brewer believes that number could exceed $1 billion.
She is not only contributing to the WNBA's expansion, she is the development. Consider this. She is surpassing all previous records, not just those related to attendance and viewership. She is outselling NBA players' jerseys. The most sought games on national broadcasts are hers. Additionally, the internet goes crazy whenever she makes an appearance in public.
Where she moves markets. And when you've got someone who moves markets, you have to pay attention to that person.
She's the reason the WNBA just won the lottery. Without Caitlyn Clark, nobody cares about any of these players or the league.
However, despite everything, the league still makes mistakes on what ought to be the simplest play in sports history when it comes to backing its best talent. Rather than welcoming her ascent and constructing around her, certain WNBA ecosystem components have shown her hostility and even animosity. What did her fan following receive in return? Gatekeeping distrust, quiet, and in some cases, plain hostility, when they turned up in force, eager to applaud and support the league. According to media narratives, some players made fun of her followers for being foreigners, and when accusations were made against Indian supporters without supporting documentation, there was no apology, just a shadow hovering over the very individuals who are keeping the league afloat.
She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is, Caitlyn Clark is box office.
In the meantime, Caitlyn is being treated like royalty by international teams when she makes a prom appearance versus a Brazilian squad. Instead of being jeered or dismissed, Caitlyn was surrounded by admirers. Like she was Jordan, their players flocked to her. She was commended by their coach. It's the most striking difference you can imagine. The energy respect recognition is the kind of treatment you'd expect from her own league, but haven't seen enough of.
It's the Caitlyn Clark disrespect. And what I mean by that is you've got somebody who is obviously the most popular player in basketball. You got somebody that I would argue maybe a top 5 most popular athlete in the United States of America. All right. You got this athlete in a league that nobody's been watching, never turned a profit, and your system is broken against that team.
In one domain, she is hailed as a worldwide superstar. In another, she has been accepted and even questioned. And this is the cruelest irony of all. A few WNBA players were getting ready for collective bargaining at the time. Taking the Wave owners now have concrete proof that the value drops without Caitlin, whose brief injury has completely changed the course of events. At the negotiating table, the owners may simply refer to this instance and ask, what if she gets injured again, then what? If the league tries to demand more money, suddenly, the leverage is no longer there. She is the league's main source of expansion. Additionally, the machine stalls without her. Let's remember the most audacious actions taken thus far. Due to their roster, the Chicago Sky moved 2 games against the Fever to a larger NBA arena rather than just one. Not due to any devoted followers. Expansion due of Caitlin's arrival. Now that she has been incapacitated, they are left to look at rows of vacant chairs. A sobering reminder that this frenzy wasn't produced by the league she did.
Speak to her, to be around her. She's got charisma, she's got style, she's got bravado, she's got class, she's smart as hell.
What does Caitlin do in the midst of all of this? She releases a viral video with Dude Perfect that is on par with the nuclear level, reminding everyone that she doesn't need their consent to shine. She has already moved on to owning new audiences as they discuss how to make money off of her. YouTube families, sports lovers, and kids have already selected her. Whether Caitlin Clark will salvage the WNBA is not the subject at hand. The inquiry is whether the WNBA has the intelligence and humility to allow her. Thus, here we are. The most anticipated women's basketball moment of the month was just dropped by Caitlin Clark, who was sidelined due to injury and quiet on the floor. It didn't even take place in a WNBA arena. It took place on Dude Perfect's YouTube channel. Millions of people are already watching, sharing, and yelling over her trick shots, which is the most insane thing she did. Meanwhile, without Diana on the court, the WNBA is reeling as attendance and ratings fall and the excitement vanishes. There is no more glaring or vicious contrast.
All other teams still grew by double-digit percentages. So let's not forget that. But they didn't grow by 319%. That was Caitlin Clark.
After her injury was announced, the game on June 7th, the tickets were originally $86. Same seats, now $25. That's a 71% drop in price.
This week, Caitlin Clark made history without a logo or a league. All she needed was a basketball, a camera, and a stage, and she gave it her all once she got it. This wasn't a collaboration. She owned the entire presentation with her jaw-dropping inventiveness and mind-blowing long-range explosives. This was a declaration. Caitlin Clark is more than simply another player, as a reminder to the league, the media, and everyone holding on to the past. She is the current. Additionally, she controls the narrative whether she is on or off the court. Now, as some players discuss leverage and collective bargaining, Caitlin is demonstrating what true leverage looks like. She is the reason why people are purchasing tickets, attending events, and packing arenas. The figures don't lie when she isn't present. Individuals vanish instead of seizing the chance to develop a generational talent. The WNBA hesitated, and Caitlin's already moved on to larger venues with larger audiences and cultural influence while they tried to repair the damage. Because it's straightforward in the end. You cannot stop her, but you may sideline her.